no actual dedication of love. It's just like, hey, quit your complaining. Everyone's watching. You know I love you.
Or an old-fashioned Regan. You too.
Mm-hmm.
I love you. You too.
You too.
You too. In case you ever need someone to say I love you to you one day, take these 2 words and use them. Because I can't express myself.
I'm an idiot. Girth units.
Back at ya. Excuse me, sir, ma'am. Goodbye.
Yeah, that's how you can tell how good a comic a guy is how much you think about him a day. How much his bits you think about it. Like, I think about Brian Regan bits 3 times a week. Just in life. Like, I'll get out of a cab, have a good trip, you too. You're just like, fucking Brian Regan.
He had a great take on his own stand-up, and he said he likes to picture all of us leaving the, like, hack mine, like a mine of just hack premises, and just looking at him taking our goggles off and covered in soot, like, there's nothing left. And he goes, and that's when I go in.
Oh, that's funny.
I thought, that's pretty badass.
Yeah, I like when guys are, like, a humble guy like him is kind of cocky like that. Not cocky like, but just like, no, I'm good in that way.
So you went out in 2002 is when you really said, was it like coming out of the closet where you go, oh, I'm a comic my whole life?
That's the thing is, even when I was like doing other shit, I would just go to the Laugh Factory and hang out with you and Chappelle.
Do you want to come out of the closet on this podcast?
like a pull a Todd Glass.
Yeah, that'd be some good traction.
I love comedy clubs.
Yeah.
I just like being in comedy. Like, we know each other because I was going to NYU and started working the door to comedy club in 91, 92, and was just like, I really prefer this. Like, I'm a fucking gym rat. Yeah. I still would rather, if I can go, even when people go, when I was directing movies, people go like, why are you here? It's like, cause I like comedy. I didn't get into comedy to get out of comedy. Like, I'm here. It's cause I like, this to me is comedy. It's like comedy clubs have a constant audience that you can go and test shit out. It's fucking great. You don't have to worry. You don't have to post it. You don't have to wait for the emails to come in. You don't have to wait. But you direct a movie or write a movie, or even Chappelle Show was a quick response where we'd do a sketch and 2 weeks later it would air, and then the next day it would you would get the echo back.
Yeah.
But that's the great thing about comedy clubs is like, it's fucking instant. Just like, that's funny, that's not funny, that's funny, that's not. And I like the fact. I also am flattered that I can get on at comedy clubs.
Yeah.
I'm excited to be able to get on. Like that's whereas a guy like you or older guys, not older, but more experienced guys, just you're used to stuff. I'm still curious about it.
Yeah.
I'm still excited about it. I'm still flattered by it when I'm the closer on a show. I'm like, oh, it's fucking awesome. That means, where it's like you're 38 and you did good. Don't you know?
Yeah.
It's like, no, I know I can do that stuff, but this is the thing to me. This is like the trench warfare. This is the thing I want to get. This is the thing that means something to me.
Well, it's real.
Yeah.
And it's immediate. Like you said, it's like when you run something up the flagpole's in the room and it's not long.
Yeah. It's not long. You don't have to filter it. You don't have to ask permission. You can just go. You don't have to submit it beforehand. You just go like, I'm thinking this. Here's what I think. And then people either reject it or accept it. And there's no real politics to it. There's no real like, well, we had a guy in here earlier who had something similar. Just all the showbiz excuses you get that are just fucking, that after a while, it's, and I brought this analogy up in terms of working the road because like, people don't really want to book me, but everywhere I've gone, I've sold out. And I'm kind of like, okay, I don't know why I'm selling out. It's either I have a lot of Twitter followers or Chappelle Show or everything together or the TV shit or whatever. But what I'm saying is I know I'm pretty. And you guys are going like, we're not going to enter you in our beauty competition. It's like, dude, I know I'm pretty. Stop fucking saying I'm not pretty.
Are you having problems getting booked?
Yes.
Really?
I mean, yeah. Like they're not throwing it at me. It's
I was so relieved personally when I saw you on George Lopez come out and actually kill.
Yeah.
Because it's one of those situations where like you walk out and it's this cringe moment of like, oh no, like this poor guy. He's just been hanging out in comedy clubs so long. He thinks he's up. And then you went out, and I was like, I really got happy. Like, oh fuck yeah,
That's one time Bill
little
Burr,
Minty's all grown up.
When Bill Burr auditioned for Chappelle Show, he auditioned for a sketch, and he was good in the audition. And Chappelle looks at me and goes, "Thank fucking God." Just like, thank God this guy, like, I don't have to avoid this guy's. I really like this guy, and I don't want to have in my head.
Because you knew him from
we knew him from the clubs.
Oh, gotcha.
And Chappelle was like, I don't want to have it in my head, like, fucking guy can't act. And that's the thing with stand-up. It's like, when people go, it's like, I could have gone, people were like, you should go out and do a Neal Brennan and Friends thing. It's like, no, this is 5 years ago, right after Chappelle Show. I'm like, no, let me figure out how to do it well, get an hour, and then go out. And now I'm at the hour, and people are like, well, we didn't even know you did stand-up. We didn't even, Chappelle Show was a long time ago. There's all this stuff. It's like, and they're like, you should do a half hour in Comedy Central. I was like, I'm gonna do it, but I'm still gonna be less known for the half hour than for Chappelle Show. So all this fake shit you're throwing in my way in terms of like obstacles that I need to overcome I've already, whether you guys know it or not, I don't expect clubs to realize like, yeah, you know who we need more here? Co-creators. Like what's
my DJ's name?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, like they're not
creators.
They're not. There's not a lot of guys coming from television shows and then trying to headline.
What's Darren Starr doing? We got to get him in this comedy.
But you know who we need in here for? Michael Patrick King, ladies and gentlemen. Do you know? Can we get one of the guys from Cops?
Where's Matt? Where's
can we get fucking? What's the guy's name?
You can hear our fucking gears smashing together
or some shit. We need to get fucking Bagley out here.
Do you want Carsey or Warner?
But again, I have a lot of Twitter followers just from being funny on Twitter. Like, you just fucking get...
Everyone listening to this podcast just ripped their Dre Beats headphones off their head, listening to our gears grind in our heads, trying to find fucking co-creators. I'm like, is it Matt? Is it Max Cohen and
Can we get Marcy Carsey out here?
Marcy Carsey, yeah. Let's get Ryan Shiraki and Marcy Klein.
Yeah, exactly. So that's the, I get it, but I'm also like not trying to rip people off. I'll take a door deal, but I'll bet on myself. And if people don't show up, fuck me. If I stink, I stink, but the shows are good. Yeah,
you're smart.
Shows are good.
That's what I do. I never had when I started doing door deals, they said, you know, when Katz goes, well, what's your guarantee going to be at the bottom end? I go, I don't want a guarantee. If no one shows up, I don't want some guy to scratch a fucking check like I got over on him.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, just, you know what? I'll perform for the waitresses and let's get out of here.
Yeah, generally people showed up, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And you probably weren't sure why. Did you know why?
Well, this is where we'll get into the psychology of our relationship. I always wondered why more people aren't coming. I always wondered why I'm not more famous than I was. Like after Jerry Maguire and Picture Perfect, I thought that equaled, boom, you know, like something bigger than, you know, like Cherry Fall. Go was a real fun movie to do, and I would do it a billion times.
Yeah.
But
it's a good movie.
It's something about me specific, like sometimes like I think being a comic, there's sort of like a governor on the engine is how much people can look at you as like an actor.
Right.
And people go, well, that role went to long time ago. They'd say like, well, that role went to Matt Damon. And I would go, who's Matt? This how long ago?
Yeah.
Who's Matt Damon? They go, he had a great scene in the Meg Ryan movie. And I'm like, I just did 6 movies. Like, fuck his scene.
Yeah.
So I'm always the guy looking at the, you know, 1,200 seat theater, and I look at those 200 empty seats, and I'm like, why wouldn't these people come out?
Yeah.
Crazy.
I think I agree with you on that. Like, meaning, I'm not saying I'm curious as to why. I know why, but it's when the club owners barely let me in. I just did a weekend in Arlington, Virginia, right? The Draft House. Sell at both shows before doors open. No walk-ups. Sold out. So I'm thinking, I promoted on Fallon. I fucking whatever. I'll get a bonus. No bonus in my contract. When I got back to the hotel, I was like, I'm not getting a fucking bonus for selling 600 seats. Fucking, and then I talked to my agents yesterday, and they're like, we booked it a while ago, and so I'm like, nobody respects me. The audience, like, that's the thing about comedy is like the live comedy is like we're cutting out the middleman, but then you think that, and then here come the bookers. You're like, motherfucker, now I have to convince you, but I've already convinced the crowd. The crowd's going to show up. Yeah. I know they will. And it's just demoralizing.
And it doesn't translate from market to market at all. Like, you can't tell a guy in San Jose, I just sold out in Arlington. He'll say, that doesn't matter here. This is
No,
San
I know.
Jose.
Well, but that's bullshit. Meaning,
Oh, I know.
No, but they'll go, well, like
Well,
how
we
many?
have the Sharks. The Sharks play across the street.
Yeah, no.
And if the Sharks are at home, they're going to kill you.
That's a
I'm
tough
like, no, they
weekend.
won't. I'm doing those are season ticket holders.
It's a tough sell. You're a tough sell this weekend.
It's Memorial. Here's a sad story. The guy, Keith Stubbs, runs Wise Guys in Salt Lake City.
Yeah.
It's a fun room.
Yeah,
I love Salt Lake City.
Go ahead.
Huh?
Sure, he won't book me.
He
Go
will
ahead.
now. You're
Yeah,
in. I'll make a call. He's that fucking prick, that stuttering fucking prick. And I was doing Denver, and I was like, I don't want to just go out on the road for a weekend like a ham and egger. I want to like string it together, make it. I want to stay out a little bit. If
Yeah.
I'm going to take my wife and my baby to another town, let's just stay out.
Really
and
show them an awful way of life. Yeah, go ahead.
Yes, I want to
Show your wife and kids an awful
Tin
situation.
Pan Alley dance. Dance.
Is this what you wanted, sweetheart? Do the count.
I call Keith Stubbs and I go, I need you to put me in after Denver. He goes, it's Memorial Day weekend, sweetheart. And I go, so what? And he goes, it's really bad weekend. I go, so all right, I'll take $5,000 off of. That's not a door deal. That's
right.
a price. I go, I'll take $5,000 off. He goes, it's a really. I go, what? You're telling me every Mormon is going to the fucking river that day?
Yeah. What are they going to be doing? Yeah.
Every Mormon went to the river that day.
Oh, that's
it was horrible.
You just did a one-nighter?
No, I was there for a weekend. It was like, 100 people and it seats like 300, but every night you're just going, oh, this poor, every night I'm like, this poor guy and his wife, they're super Mormon.
Right.
Like the wife bakes you cakes. The green room has like cakes and like these amazing pies and they're just kind and we'll watch the baby.
Yeah.
Why don't you and your wife go out? Like I just met, and they're like, well, what? Totally. Like, and not
they
creepy.
baptized the baby Mormon? Go ahead.
No, nothing creepy at all. Like an actual, just like, holy shit, there might be something to these people. All they care about are being nice.
Yeah.
And I've been bashing them my whole life. And apparently they have, this city looks like fucking Gattaca compared to the rest of the world. Salt Lake City's just clean.
Yeah. It's like Singapore or something?
It's incredible. Yeah. So, I felt super bad. So now
I've had, like, I haven't done, the only time people haven't shown up has been, like, real weird.
Every Mormon went to the river that weekend.
Yeah. That's every night during your 7:30, and then they went again at 9:30.
Oh,
what are the odds?
You said something for 70% odds that they all went out.
Yeah.
You said something before we started. I said, because you sent me a text saying, hey, let's do the podcast and I can talk about how you harangued me all through the 90s. And, I knew it well after, like immediately after basically you moved out.
Right.
I knew, well, that's no way to treat a guy. Like I was, Neal's
having said that, we only lived together for like a month, but it was one of these months that's just indelible. It felt like a year.
I really rode you hard. You slept on the futon on my St. Mark's apartment. We lived next door to Eddie Brill.
Yes.
And I can remember like opening the door. Here's like something I remember. Talk about an indelible thing that I go, like if it was NAA, like make amends thing, I'll look, there's no way to treat a guy and I apologize.
Oh no, I appreciate that.
It's horrible.
Yeah.
But I will say this, we'll get to it later, but the joke I played on Kevin, your brother, when I saw you guys.
I wasn't here for that.
I saw your family in the middle of Bakersfield, like nowhere.
Yeah.
Like your sister got married or
they were
somebody
here
got
for
married.
a wedding of some kind, yeah.
And we'll get to that in a second. I'll write it down. But I remember saying to you, where are you going to sleep tonight, Neal? Where are you going to sleep? And standing with the door open going, you can just fucking take your shit and get out because that's my futon. That's and I go, that's my stove. And I pointed to everything in the apartment. Yeah. That's my shitty painting that my friend made that I got to put up in case he comes over. Those are my records. Yeah. That's my answering machine. So where the fuck are you going to sleep, Neal?
Yeah, what was your angle? That is an interesting, because I don't know if you asked on the air, but like what you were getting at. Like what year, because I took, anyway, we'll get it, but I'm curious as to what was your brain telling you to be like? And why were you being like that?
I think part of it is mania.
Right. I would agree with that.
A manic spell. Yeah. And then I thought of this the moment you asked me that before we came on the air. I knew it the second you said it, which was that being always being the youngest guy in the neighborhood, the youngest guy by 2 years on every team, being a freshman starter on a wrestling team, baseball team, being a 16-year-old doing clubs, doing comedy, being 2 years younger.
Are you about to give yourself an award? Go ahead.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, the Peabody Award. It's not the Peabody Award. It's one they do up in Massachusetts. It's the Peabody Award. Give him the fucking Peabody Award and move on. This is retarded. I think that once, and we've talked about this a lot on the podcast, Patrice and I actually talked about it. When you leave New Jerry Maguire and come back, you have to hand in that fucking Napoleon complex. You've made it. When you've done Saturday Night Live, you can't complain.
There's no actual dedication of love. It's just like, hey, quit your complaining. Everyone's watching. I love you.
Or an old-fashioned Regan. You too. Mm-hmm. I love you. You too.
You too.
You too. In case you ever need someone to say I love you to you one day, take these 2 words and use them.
His bits, you think about it. Like, I think about Brian Regan bits 3 times a week. Just in life. Like, I'll get out of cab, have a good trip, you too. You're just like, fucking Brian Regan.
He had a great take on his own stand-up, and he said he likes to picture all of us leaving the, hack mine, like a mine of, because I can't express myself.
I'm an idiot. Girth units.
Back at ya. Oh, excuse me, sir, ma'am. Goodbye.
Yeah, that's how you can tell how good a comic a guy is how much you think about him a day. How much in that way.
So you went out in 2002 is when you really said, was it like coming out of the closet where you go, I'm a comic my whole life?
That's the thing is, even when I was like doing other shit, I would just go to the Laugh Factory and hang out with you and Chappelle.
Do you want to come out of the closet on this podcast, just hack premises, and just looking at him taking our goggles off and covered in soot, like there's nothing left? And he goes, and that's when I go in.
Oh, that's funny.
I thought, that's pretty badass.
Yeah, I like when guys are like, a humble guy like him is kind of cocky like that. Not cocky like, but just like, no, I'm good.